Chapter 1. The Last Warning. The galaxy had one unbreakable law. Humans never belonged among the stars. For thousands of years, every advanced civilization believed the same thing. Humans were emotional. Humans fought among themselves. Humans argued. Humans made mistakes. To the Galactic Council, that made them weak. The council was ruled by 12 ancient species, each possessing technology so advanced it could reshape planets in days. When humanity finally reached interstellar space, they expected a warm welcome. Instead, they received a warning. Leave the stars voluntarily, or be removed forever. Earth listened. Governments argued. Scientists pleaded for peace. Military commanders prepared for war. But one man stood silently inside the United Earth Assembly. Admiral Elias Kane, a veteran who had survived every conflict humanity had ever faced. When the council ambassador finished speaking, Elias stepped forward. His voice was calm. If strength is all you understand, then you have never met humanity. The council laughed. 2. Zemu. Humans were insects pretending to be giants. They gave Earth exactly 30 days. Surrender every colony. Destroy every warship. Accept permanent isolation. Or face annihilation. As the alien fleets departed, no one celebrated, because everyone knew the countdown had begun. Chapter 2. Earth chooses. Fear spread faster than light. Cities panicked. Markets collapsed. Millions demanded surrender. Others demanded war. Families argued. Friends became enemies. Even inside the United Earth Assembly, leaders couldn't agree. Then Admiral Kane requested permission to speak. The room became silent. He looked around at every representative. Our ancestors crossed oceans with wooden ships. They reached the skies with fragile rockets. They survived ice ages, pandemics, wars. They never surrendered because survival was easy. They survived because giving up was never an option. The room remained silent. Then something unexpected happened. A child watching the global broadcast sent a single message. I believe in us. Millions repeated it. Then billions. With in-house, the phrase echoed across every human colony. We believe in us. Factories restarted. Shipyards worked day and night. Scientists shared every classified discovery. Former enemies became allies. For the first time in history, humanity stood together. Chapter 3. The Fleet of Hope. The Council expected surrender. Instead, their long-range scanners detected thousands of human ships leaving Earth. Not elegant warships. Not perfect cruisers. Every vessel looked different. Mining ships, cargo freighters, research stations converted into carriers, old transports reinforced with experimental weapons. The alien admirals laughed. This is their fleet. But they overlooked one simple fact. Humans never fought with perfect equipment. They fought with whatever they had. Inside the flagship Resolute, Admiral Kane addressed every captain. Today, we don't fight because we hate them. We fight because our children deserve tomorrow. Silence filled every bridge. Then, every captain answered together. For humanity. The stars themselves seemed to tremble. Chapter 4. The first clash. 30 days had passed. The deadline expired. No surrender message came from Earth. Instead, thousands of human ships crossed the neutral zone. The Galactic Council watched from their command station in silence. High Chancellor Varric leaned forward. So, they truly chose extinction. With a simple gesture, he gave the order. Destroy them! Moments later, the Council's first fleet surged forward. It was the largest military force ever assembled. Millions of drones. Thousands of battleships. Planet-cracking weapons. The galaxy had never seen such overwhelming power. On the bridge of the Resolute, warning. Alarms echoed. Enemy fleet entering range. Estimated hostile vessels. 12,000. Some officers stared at the tactical display in disbelief. The alien fleet stretched across space like a silver ocean. Admiral Elias Kane remained calm. He looked at the stars beyond the viewport. Then, he smiled. They think numbers win wars. He activated the fleet-wide channel. Remember your training. Protect the ship beside you. No one fights alone. And whatever happens today, make them remember humanity. Across thousands of human ships, captains repeated the order. No one cheered. No one celebrated. They simply prepared, because courage is often quiet. Chapter 5. Humanity's Secret Weapon. The first alien volley lit up the darkness. Beams of blue energy crossed millions of kilometers in seconds. Human ships scattered. Explosions filled the void. Several vessels were destroyed instantly. The council commanders nodded confidently. Everything was proceeding as expected. But then, the human fleet did something impossible. Instead of retreating, it split into hundreds of independent formations. Every captain made decisions without waiting for orders. Every engineer modified systems during battle. Every pilot adapted in real time. Alien commanders hesitated. Their fleets relied on perfect coordination. Human fleets relied on trust. Within minutes, mining ships became missile platforms. Cargo vessels released hidden fighter squadrons. Research ships flooded enemy sensors with experimental electronic warfare. The battlefield dissolved into chaos, exactly where humans fought best. Chapter 6. The Price of Freedom. Victory never comes without sacrifice. The destroyer Valiant lost its engines after a direct hit. Captain Sofia Ramirez looked around her damaged bridge. Smoke filled the room. Half her crew was injured. The tactical officer spoke quietly. We cannot escape. Another officer whispered. The enemy flagship is within collision range. Silence followed. Captain Ramirez understood. She opened the fleet channel. This is Captain Ramirez. If you're hearing this, tell my daughter, I kept my promise. I gave her a future. Without hesitation, the Valiant accelerated using its emergency reactors, straight toward the alien flagship. The council commander barely had time to react. The collision shook the battlefield. The explosion destroyed one of the council's most powerful command ships. Across every human channel, no one celebrated. Instead, thousands of crews stood in silent respect. Admiral Kane lowered his head. Your sacrifice will never be forgotten. The battle continued, but something had changed. The aliens had just learned that humans feared losing each other more than they feared death, and that made them terrifying opponents. Chapter 7. Fear changes sides. For centuries, the Galactic Council had inspired fear. No. Their own officers began to panic. Reports flooded every command center. Humans keep adapting. They're repairing ships during combat. They're using wreckage as weapons. They refuse to retreat. One council admiral slammed his fist against the console. This is irrational. Another answered quietly. No, it is determination. For the first time in recorded galactic history, the council realized they had misunderstood humanity. Humans were not dangerous because they were stronger. They were dangerous because they refused to surrender, even when the odds were impossible. Even when defeat seemed certain, they kept moving forward. And that frightened every empire watching the battle. Chapter 8. A mission no one expected. The first battle had ended. The Galactic Council had won on paper. Humanity had lost hundreds of ships. Thousands of brave men and women had given their lives. Yet something felt wrong. For the first time in 10,000 years, the Council had not broken its enemy's spirit. Instead, humanity had grown stronger. Deep inside the flagship Resolute, Admiral Elias Kane studied a holographic map of Council space. A young intelligence officer stepped forward. Sir, we've intercepted encrypted Council transmissions. Kane looked up. What did they reveal? The officer took a deep breath. They're afraid. Silence filled the command room. Not afraid of human weapons. Not afraid of human technology. They were afraid of something much more dangerous. Human determination. Kane smiled. Then it's time to remind them why history never remembers those who surrender. Chapter 9. Operation Phoenix. Across every human colony, a secret operation began. Its name was simple. Operation Phoenix. Human engineers unveiled inventions they had hidden for decades. Experimental fusion drives. Adaptive armor that repaired itself. Artificial intelligence designed not to replace humans but to fight beside them. Civilian factories transformed overnight into military production lines. Teachers became engineers. Farmers built drones. Students assembled medical supplies. Every citizen had a role. No one was forced. Everyone volunteered. The galaxy watched in disbelief. No empire had ever seen an entire civilization unite with such purpose. One alien observer quietly admitted, perhaps humanity's greatest weapon is humanity itself. Chapter 10. The Forgotten Archive. Far beyond the battlefield, a small human exploration ship discovered an abandoned alien structure hidden inside a dead star system. Its walls were older than the Galactic Council itself. Inside, strange symbols glowed with ancient energy. Dr. Mayachun stepped forward. As she touched the central console, the chamber came alive. A hologram appeared. It spoke in a language no one recognized. Mo Mentreta, the ship's AI, translated the message. To whoever finds this archive, beware the council. Everyone froze. The message continued. They were never chosen to protect the galaxy. They conquered it. The room fell silent. The archive revealed a forgotten truth. Thousands of years earlier, countless peaceful civilizations had existed among the stars. The council had erased them, not to defend peace, but to maintain absolute control. History itself had been rewritten. Humanity wasn't the first species to resist. It was simply the first to survive long enough to uncover the truth. Chapter 11. Hope spreads. News of the ancient archive spread in secret. At first, only a few worlds believed it. Then, more evidence emerged. Hidden records, lost satellites, ancient ruins. One by one, independent star systems realized the truth. The council had ruled through fear. No, fear was beginning to disappear. Across the galaxy, old enemies contacted humanity. Some offered fuel, others shared intelligence. Several even sent warships. A veteran alien captain stood before his crew. For centuries, we obeyed the council. Today, we choose freedom. One by one, fleets changed course. The stars that had once stood against humanity now stood beside it. Admiral Kane looked at the growing alliance on the tactical display. He whispered, "This was never about defeating an empire. It was about giving the galaxy the courage to stand." As hundreds of allied fleets entered hyperspace together, one thing became clear. The final battle was no longer about Earth. It was about the future of every civilization among the stars. Chapter 12. The Gathering Storm. The Council had ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years. Now, for the first time, their borders were shrinking. Across dozens of star systems, worlds declared independence. Council banners were lowered. New flags rose in their place. Not the flag of Earth, not the flag of any single species. A new symbol spread from world to world, a circle of stars surrounding an open hand. It meant one thing: freedom through unity. Inside the Grand Council Citadel, panic spread through the once confident leadership. High Chancellor Verax slammed his hand onto the ancient command table. "How many systems have abandoned us?" An officer answered with a trembling voice. 143. "Chancellor, and the number is still growing." Verax's expression hardened. "Then we end this today." He gave the order no council leader had ever dared to give. "Awaken the Guardian Fleet." The chamber fell silent. Even the council members looked at one another in fear. Because the Guardian Fleet was not an ordinary military force. It was a legend. A fleet built thousands of years ago using forgotten technology. Ships so powerful that entire solar systems had surrendered without a fight. For centuries, they had remained hidden, waiting for a threat worthy of awakening them. Humanity had become that threat. Chapter 13. The Impossible Fleet. Deep inside a hidden nebula, ancient stations came alive. Massive hangar doors slowly opened. One by one, gigantic black warships emerged from the darkness. Each vessel was larger than a city. Their armor absorbed light itself. Their engines produced no visible flame. They moved through space like silent shadows. Across the galaxy, sensors detected the impossible. The Guardian fleet had returned. Several Allied commanders stared at their tactical displays in disbelief. No fleet can defeat that. Admiral Elias Kane studied the enemy quietly. After a long silence, he said, "Every weapon ever built was designed by someone, and anything created can be defeated." His confidence spread through the bridge. Fear slowly gave way to determination. Chapter 14. Humanity's Greatest Strength. Before the final campaign began, Admiral Kane requested one last transmission to every Allied world. Billions watched. Humans, aliens, children, veterans, scientists, workers. Everyone waited. Kane stood alone before the camera. "We were told that courage belongs only to the powerful. We were told that freedom belongs only to the victorious. They were wrong. Courage belongs to anyone who refuses to abandon hope. Freedom belongs to those willing to protect it. We are different. We speak different languages. We come from different worlds. But today, we fight for the same future. If tomorrow remembers us, let it remember that ordinary people stood together when it mattered most." The transmission ended. No dramatic music. No celebration. Only silence. Zen. Across thousands of ships, captains gave the same order. Set course for the Citadel. The United Fleet accelerated toward the heart of Council space. Millions of engines illuminated the darkness. The largest alliance in galactic history was on the move. And for the first time in thousands of years, the Council realized they might actually lose. Chapter 15. The First Strike. The Guardian fleet met the Allied Armada at the edge of the Citadel system. The stars disappeared behind countless warships. Without warning, the first Guardian vessel fired. A brilliant beam of white energy crossed space. An Allied cruiser vanished instantly. No explosion. No debris. It simply ceased to exist. The battlefield froze for a heartbeat. Then Admiral Kane spoke calmly. "Advance." Thousands of ships surged forward. Human pilots weaved through impossible gaps. Alien cruisers formed defensive walls. Medical ships rescued damaged crews even under heavy fire. Every species fought differently. Together, they fought as one. The final war for the future of the galaxy had begun. And somewhere beyond the battlefield, an ancient secret weapon waited to decide the fate of every star. Chapter 16. Through the wall of fire, the Guardian fleet struck with terrifying precision. Every volley shattered asteroids. Every blast bent the fabric of space. The Allied fleet suffered heavy losses. Warning sirens echoed across the bridge of the Resolute. Forward shields at 30%. Engine section taking damage. Enemy reinforcements approached. Admiral Elias Kane stood unmoving. His officers looked to him, waiting for an impossible answer. Instead of ordering a retreat, Kane spoke quietly. "Signal every fleet." The communications officer nodded. "The channel is open." Admiral Kane's voice carried across thousands of ships. "They believe victory belongs to the strongest. Today, we prove it belongs to those who never stop standing." At once, the Allied fleet changed formation. Human pilots flew directly into the narrow gaps between the Guardian ships. Alien engineers synchronized energy grids. Medical vessels shielded damaged cruisers instead of fleeing. For the first time, the Guardian fleet lost its perfect formation. One ancient battleship exploded. Then another. The impossible fleet had begun to break. Chapter 17. The Heart of the Citadel. While the battle raged, the Resolute slipped through the chaos with a small escort. Its destination was the Grand Council Citadel. The station was larger than a moon. Its walls were covered with ancient defenses. As the Resolute approached, automated weapons opened fire. Explosions shook the hull. Multiple breaches. Boarding route is collapsing. Kane turned toward his strike team. There may not be a way back. Every member answered the same way. We're with you. Minutes later, assault shuttles pierced the Citadel's outer defenses. Inside, silent corridors stretched 4 kilometers. The halls were lined with statues of the Council's rulers. Each statue celebrated a victory. None mentioned the worlds they had conquered. None remembered the civilizations they had erased. Kane looked at the towering monuments. History, written by fear, never lasts forever. The team advanced toward the central chamber. Chapter 18. The Final Choice. High Chancellor Varrock waited alone before the Citadel's ancient control core. Behind him floated the device that had kept the Council in power for millennia. The Stella Dominion Core. It controlled defense networks across thousands of star systems. Varrock smiled as Kane entered. You've come farther than any species before you, but you still cannot win. Kane replied calmly, We're not here to rule. We're here to end the cycle. Varrock activated the Dominion Core. Across the galaxy, hidden superweapons began to awaken. The chamber trembled. Warning lights flashed. Human engineer Lena Ortiz stepped to the central console. She stared at the alien technology. If I overload this core, it will shut down every Council weapon. Kane understood the cost. The overload radius. She lowered her eyes. No one inside this chamber survives. Silence filled the room. The strike team exchanged glances. No one spoke. No one stepped back. Finally, Kane smiled. We always knew freedom would have a price. Before anyone could stop him, he placed his hand on the activation panel. Varrock shouted, You would sacrifice yourself. Kane answered, If one life saves billions, it's an easy decision. He activated the overload. The Dominion Core erupted with blinding light. A wave of energy swept across the galaxy. Guardian warships went dark. Planetary weapons shut down. Council fleets lost power. The Age of Fear ended in a single brilliant flash. Chapter 19. A New Dawn. Hours later, the battle was over. The remaining Council forces surrendered. Across countless worlds, people watched the stars in silence. For the first time in thousands of years, there were no orders from the Council, only peace. Rescue teams searched the ruins of the Citadel. They never found Admiral Elias Kane. Some believed he had perished. Others believed he had been lost somewhere beyond known space when the core collapsed. No one knew the truth. On Earth, the memorial was built not to celebrate war, but to honor sacrifice. Its inscription read, They did not fight because they loved war. They fought because they loved tomorrow. Years passed. Former enemies rebuilt together. Trade routes reopened. Science replaced conquest. Children from dozens of worlds studied side by side. And every year, on the anniversary of the final battle, ships from every civilization gathered above Earth. They shut down their engines for one silent minute. Not in mourning, but in gratitude. Because one species had refused to surrender. Not for glory, not for power, but for everyone. The end.
If you enjoyed this HFY Chronicles story, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next journey across the stars. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next adventure.